for coming. Pepper Corey's here today to dazzle you with her words of wisdom on pepper cottons. And the title of this schoolhouse is called The Shot Cotton Party Continues, and you'll see it is definitely continuing. Studioe is at booth 735. Hopefully you could come and visit us. And any comments or questions, Pepper will take questions at the end, and hopefully everyone gave in their business card so you could get picked for a prize at the end. Thank you for coming. Here's Pepper.
Good morning, and thank you so much for coming to the schoolhouse. My name's Pepper Corey. I'm from Beaufort, North Carolina, but I'm here today representing Studioe Fabrics. Studioe is a division of Jaftex Fabrics, which is also Henry Glass and Fabric Editions and probably other things of which I am not aware. Scott Fortunoff, who introduced me, is my boss, but there are other people in the room that perhaps you would like to know. Laura Gilvin is our marketing manager, Laura in the turquoise sweater, and she and I together will hold up things to look at. And in the back is Robert Fortunoff, head of Jaftex, and to his left is another Fortunoff, Greg. Okay. And at the back is Mark Octavio and Megan Downer, who is the art director for this company. And Vanessa Dennison is right here with the media. So you might see any of these people around the Studioe or the Henry Glass booth because they're all part of Jaftex. Last year we introduced peppered cottons, which is a shot cotton. And the shot cotton is of a heavier weight than what you're used to seeing as a shot cotton. Instead of simply being that very flimsy weight, which is called a sari weight in India, we increased the thickness and the number of threads per inch, and we've gotten a really, really good reaction. So I'm just delighted if anyone in this room has already ordered some shot cottons and is perhaps thinking about expanding their repertoire. We now have fully 50 colors in shot cottons, and I have misplaced my card here.
Everyone has one.
Oh, well, good. You've got the cards. Lovely. All right, there we are. What is a shot cotton? It's a cotton in which the warp is one color, and what is shot across in the weaving process, literally with the shuttle, is the secondary color. Now, not all of these are the same. So some of them will be shot with black or gray or tan or brown or red to get a different shade, something you hadn't seen before. We even thought about subtitling this line of colors you've never seen before, because some of them are really left of center. Why should we make something that looks solid and is the same as other companies? So for instance, on your color card, you'll see a lavender, which is actually a combination of a bright purple and turquoise, and I called it rain. Okay, I had to come up with a term for a color rather than saying bluish lavender shot with turquoise. It just didn't work. And there are some other names like that. So any of those names, if you're curious about them, we can tell you which was the warp and which was the weft to achieve a certain look in that. There is one color in the line, which is an absolute dead-on solid, in which both the warp and the weft are the same. And that is flame, number 16, which is a red, 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 because people love an absolutely solid red. So that's the only one in this line that is the same in both directions of weaving. My husband's favorite is the one that's number 91, citrus yellow. He calls it safety green, because he's sure that that's the color that the highway workers wear. What's really been selling well is the whole line of the neutral shot cottons, and I would say that that second column there has just taken off beyond our expectations. We've added char gold, which is number 12, and ochre 56, and rust and sienna. These are new. These are new at this market. So make sure that you ask to see the 15 new colors if you are familiar with the previous things. The pieces behind you are important in that over here is the #1 prize-winning quilted piece that was made in the Peppered Cottons Challenge. We have some other quilts here. How many did we have entered altogether?
Over 30.
Over 30, okay. Let's take a look at some of the runners-up so that you can see how difficult it was to choose first prize.
Do you want the second?
Okay, this was second place. was beautifully done. And third place was a larger quilt, I believe. When you ask people to be creative with solid colors, then they really have to rely on their design and their sewing skills to make it pop. This was wonderful as well. But the two runners-up, I'm really glad I didn't have to choose first prize, because even the runners-up are exquisite. So that challenge took place, and the winner not only won something for themselves as the artist, but the shop that sold them the fabric also won. This was quite nice. A much more limited color scheme, kind of moody, but it showed the quilting very well. And the names and what the people actually won as a result of the contest are on the Studioe website. Isn't this one sweet? De Bear.
Mr. Bear.
Mr. Bear. Wonderful thread work on this piece as well. So I was delighted to see so many people try their hand at working with this palette of solid colors. So that was the Peppered Cottons Challenge. Did anyone in here enter? Anyone from their store enter? Okay, excellent.
No, actually I didn't enter.
Okay,
But my quilt that's featured in Quilt Sampler magazine is Peppered Cottons.
wonderful. We want to know about that.
We have a picture to show.
Oh, that would be lovely. So she says a quilt that she made for Quilt Sampler magazine also features peppered cottons. So thank you so much. We are very appreciative. And I have a video on hand quilting coming out with Annie's Attic next month. And again, the quilts that I made in that video are the shot cottons. So what else is happening? Oh, this quilt appeared in Fresh Quilts magazine. It was called Market Garden. And Fresh Quilts used to be called Simple Quilts, but I guess they thought that the name was just too dinky, so they upped it to Fresh Quilts. And this quilt shows what's coming in the Peppered Cotton family, and that's what's called the fancies. And that is the plaids and the checks and stripes, and we have those here. I think it's time to unfurl the big banner of what's new. It's always impressive.
Hey, Laura.
Ooh, cool. See, I haven't seen it till just now. All I've seen is like fat quarters of the stuff. So all of these are new at this market. Pepper. Yes. Oh, of course. And Scott is wearing a tie made from the earth tone, the earth section, which is grays, charcoals, and tobacco brown.
So when you make something like a tie, are you interfacing it, or you said it's heavier than the sari, right?
Yes,
So-
yes. Like any tie, it should be interfaced. Absolutely.
But what about other garments? Have you tested them?
Ah, interesting. We have a girl's dress made with it. It is getting a lot of attention from garment makers. So this is a tie hopefully Robert will wear tomorrow. Charming little girl's dress. And I love the way the mixture of the solids and the stripes came out on this, and then the big check, the big plaid sort of anchors it here and becomes this little band, almost like a sash at the top of it. So we are getting a lot of attention from garment makers. Do you think it would be worthwhile? I'm going to poll you all while I have you here. What if Studioe put a free pattern on their website for a tie and a bow tie?
Absolutely.
Do you think that would work?
Yes.
Okay. Because we like the idea of taking advantage of those free patterns, and I don't think enough shops do that. That if they simply go to the websites of these fabric companies, there's a lot of free patterns that you can download and use. So I thought the ties might be wonderful for that. Thinking about calling them geek chic. Okay. And here's what the fabric card for the peppered plaids, checks, and stripes looks like.
These are all coming in 10-yard bolts, as are all the other peppered cottons.
Thank
And
you.
we are doing a free freight promotion. If you buy that whole card, you could get free freight. and that same goes for the 15 new colors that we added. And this ends in the end of June, so the order has to be placed before that.
And delivery is?
Delivery is in August.
Delivery is in August, okay, but the special ends in June. So here you can really get your hand into the yardage and feel it, and you can feel the difference between the other shot cotton products. This has real substance.
Yeah, Pepper, on
Yes.
working with that, we have in our shop, we have the other.
Okay, that's fine.
And we've been told to wash it and starch it before you use it.
Mm-hmm.
Then this bag, you just use this like regular cotton fabric, or you use that?
You can, but it depends on the use. And some people love to wash their fabric beforehand, and some would rather walk through flames than do that. The nice thing about this is the minimal shrinkage. What happens with the really fine sari cotton is you need to build the body back up, and I understand that. All shot cottons are calendared as almost the next to the last step before it gets onto the bolt, which means it's ironed and it's slightly shiny. When this is washed, the shine goes away, as it should. But the plus side is when the shine gets off of something, instead of the light bouncing off of it, the color seems more intense. Yeah, so I like washing it beforehand because I'm all about how does it feel as I work with it and how deep can I get the colors. I'm all about color intensity on that. But of course, if you're an art quilter or you like to quilt and then wash your quilt, that's fine as well. So we're happy to present these to you. I was delighted to see them. This came about because I started whining that no one in the quilting business was making these large-scale plaids, and we tried to get as much as possible an absolutely even 2-inch square. That's really difficult when you're doing hand-woven fabrics to make sure that it's the same in all directions. Sometimes when this is on the bolt at the very last, there's a tugging towards the edge, and you can see that on a tightly wound bolt. No one get distressed about that. Once you start to work with the fabric, put it in water, iron it, it comes out. The bowing happens as a result of tension that happens in the last steps of the weaving and in the stretching onto the bolts themselves. So they sent me a length of it, I washed it in the sink, pressed it, and there was no wavering at the edge. I really think there's only one time that you really have to match plaids. One time, in my opinion. And that is the back seam of a pair of golf pants. Then you need to match the plaid. Otherwise, I view plaids as simply linear prints. And as a quilt maker, I have a lot of fun in cutting them up different directions. So we have the peppered plaids, stripes, and checks for you this time. Are there any questions about what you've seen so far? And this is Laura's quilt here on the back, and that's available as a free download, isn't it? The directions for this quilt, okay? And I do want to remind myself, the last 5 minutes of this presentation, we will draw 6 names, and there will be 6 prizes. And the biggie, the one I will draw last, is for a kit, which has the directions and all of the fabrics to make that quilt. So in other words, we're bribing you to stick around. That's exactly what it's about. Just a few words about a line that I previously did with Studioe, which is still around. How many people, and it's everyone in this room, has gone to go get a piece of a fabric that was printed 6 months ago and the line is already sold out? Or your customer comes in whining because they miscut something. Totally understand that. The line that is available again is this one, Town and Country. And it is in this colorway, very subtle, very taupe influenced. This line sold out. It has been printed again. It is now in stock. So we wanted to remind you of that. And I have to show you something. I'm very proud. At last year's Houston Quilt Show, a man from Chicago named Ron Bedard made this quilt with fabrics from Town and Country. And he sent it to me so I could show it to you at this trade show. Yeah, I designed it, but Ron made it, okay? And he used the things from this line, and I loved it. And he just said that he was so tired of looking at flowers and bright things. He comes from the Northwest, and he said there was just between Portland and Chicago, he goes back and forth, and he said he didn't find many things that appealed to him as a masculine urban quilt maker, and this did. So I was delighted to see his work. Playing on the success of this Town and Country line, we are also bringing out at this market Town and Country Kyoto Blue. And it is most of the prints from that line. It's as if you took these prints and you put them in an old-fashioned indigo vat. And the very darkest are the first things that are dyed, and then it comes up in lightness to white. And we added a Chinese print from the late 1800s. I found the documentary, and a stitched print. The others, the chrysanthemum, the dots, the netting, and the paintbrush, these all come from the other Town and Country line. So if you like Oriental fabrics and you want to start mixing in the classic blues into your inventory, please ask to take a look at Town and Country Kyoto Blue. All right, is anybody already a Peppered Cottons customer and have any comments on what sold well for them or what hasn't sold well? We're open to it. We're big people. We can take it on the nose. Do you have any comments on that?
This one?
This is the one in the magazine.
Oh, the one in the magazine, which is here.
Oh.
How lovely.
And then we did this one with the scraps from that
Oh
one.
dear, they really don't want to hand their phones around. However, you can talk to Steve and Nancy Boyd from Snappy Quilts, and they have made things with these, and they have appeared in magazines. Where's the beautiful chevron quilt? It was on the front of the Fab Shop magazine. Are you guys members of Fab Shop? I hope you are, because it's the only trade association for independent fabric stores. And there it is, front and center on the cover. Isn't that gorgeous? Chevrons and to die for quilting. It's a great combination.
This was quilted by Karen McTavish, right?
Karen McTavish. Okay? Oh yeah, people are going, oh yeah, we recognize the name. Yeah. Karen and I have been friends for a long, long time, and I was so pleased when she got on board to do this. I'm very happy to be associated with Studioe. This is the 4th fabric company I've been with. This is the one I want to stay with. I'm very happy to be with the Fortunoff family, and I find them easy to deal with, and I hope that you will make sure to stop by the booth number.
735.
It is 735, and take a look at the Studioe offerings and the rest of what comes out of the Jaftex family, which includes Henry Glass, A.E. Nathan, Fabric Editions, and there's probably more I'm just not aware of. So please come by.
We're at Sample Spree booth 76. We'll be selling some peppered cotton fat quarters.
Oh, wow. Oh, good. Sample Spree. Okay, now, Sample Spree to me is kind of like the running of the bulls with scissors. All right. Be careful when you're at Sample Spree. Stay away from sharp objects. Okay, the booth number is?
735.
735. So if you're going to Sample Spree and you'd like to head directly for the Studioe table, please make a note of that. And these are the bundles that your reps started selling
Yes.
about a month ago. When did they start coming out?
A little bit longer. 8 pieces in a box.
8 in a box, and there was the neutral selection, which also included the deep teal and green, and then there was a jewel tone selection, and these come bundled like this with the lovely Studioe ribbon straight to your store, and you'll retail for them?
Well, the cost is $112 for the whole thing.
Okay, you can do the math because I can't.
$14 a bundle.
There we go. Much better, much better. Okay,
And you get 4 of each of the colors.
okay, all right. So if you'd like to put your toe in the water, this would be a good way to do it. I think we're just about ready to draw, aren't we, for names? Did everyone get their business card in the bucket? Okay, we're going to draw 6 names. Okay. Let's let Scott draw. Okay.
So we're gonna do these first.
Yeah.
Folk art quilts.
Okay, folk art quilts.
Mary?
Okay.
All right. Yoder Department Store. All right.
Yay!
Congratulations.
And I was at Yoder's last June, and they took a chance when these were just coming out. Thank you so much. Oh, good, thank you.
ML Designs.
Wonderful.
Oh,
Your choice.
Snappy Quilts. Which prize are we on?
Wait,
That one?
Thank
so the neutral bundle, okay.
All right.
Number 5.
The Big Kahuna.
This is like one fat quarter of all the new stuff. 18 plaids and
15
15
solids.
solids.
33. Trish, price? All right.
Okay. Congratulations.
All right. Piece by piece fabrics, Becky.
You got the big prize, Becky. Okay. We don't know where this peppered cotton thing will end. 50's a nice round number for now, okay? And now we've gotten into the plaids and stripes and checks. We'd love to see what you make. And by the way, if you are a store that sells these products, make sure that you get back to the Studioe website and get yourself listed as a retailer, because I get emails every day, where can I find your peppered cottons? So it's free advertising. If you're our customer and you stock these things, make sure your name is listed as a seller on the Studioe website. So, any questions? I think it's going to be a very good market. I have a really good feeling about it, and thank you so much for attending.